Shane, gripping a woman's hands tightly with both of his, whispered, "I'll make you happy, for my late wife's sake, too." I was completely lost for words. Shane, who was supposed to be on a company trip, was right here. Moreover, he had lied and was proposing to another woman. To my astonishment, that woman was Agnes, a classmate from high school. "You prankster! I got my revenge," she exclaimed. "What do you mean by that?" I asked, bewildered. Agnes seemed consumed by hatred and resentment, perhaps stemming from some misunderstanding in high school. At that moment, when I didn't know what to do, Mom stepped in front of me and shouted, "Enough from both of you!" Shocked by Mom's sudden outburst, Shane and Agnes fell silent. Then Mom pulled an envelope from her bag. Inside were dozens of photographs. Mom had hired a private detective to keep a close watch on Shane. And so, Mom and I, unable to forgive Shane and Agnes for their affair, brought them down. I'm Macy, a 45-year-old civil servant and housewife. Losing Dad at a young age and raised by a single mother, I always longed for a happy marriage. My husband, Shane, 2 years older, is a swimming instructor at a sports club. Popular with the ladies because of his profession, people often worried that he might cheat on me. However, we had a strong watchdog at home. That watchdog was my mom, who lives with us. Turning 70 this year, Mom was a swimming instructor at the same workplace as Shane until 5 years ago. In fact, she was Shane's boss. I met Shane when I was in college, delivering something Mom forgot at work. It was love at first sight for me, and Shane seemed quite interested when I made the first move. We started dating and got engaged when I graduated. "Because of my job, I have irregular hours, so I want to settle down rather than be in a relationship," was his proposal. However, Mom didn't seem too happy about our marriage. So, we didn't have a wedding ceremony. I always wondered why Mom couldn't be happy for my happiness. But once we had a son, she was overjoyed at her grandson's birth. As a dual-income couple, we had a happy married life with Mom's nearby support. 3 years ago, we started living with Mom, 2 years after she retired. It was around the time our son graduated from high school and started living on his own. Mom suggested we move in with her at her house. That's when I noticed changes in Shane. Changes I probably wouldn't have seen on my own. After we started living with Mom, Shane began spending more time away from home. Perhaps he felt awkward around Mom, his former boss. Mom, who had lived independently and freely until then, suddenly wanted to live together, which honestly surprised me. There might be a deeper reason behind it. Mom continued visiting Shane's workplace as a member, even after retiring. I worried this might make Shane feel pressured both personally and professionally. "Mom, wouldn't it be better to go to a different sports facility for exercise?" I suggested gently. Mom, avoiding eye contact, replied, "No, I get a family discount there, and I know a lot of the members. It's always fun when I go." Mom's evasive manner made me feel like she was hiding something. "Mom, what's wrong? You've seemed off lately." "It's nothing. More importantly, Macy, have you been talking properly with Shane lately?" Her question made me think. Indeed, I realized that recently. Shane and I hadn't been talking much. Was Mom's distant behavior due to her concern about this? "Mom, were you worried about us?" "I'm sorry for making you worry, but it's okay." I reassured Mom, not wanting her to worry unnecessarily. Then, a few nights later, after taking a bath, I was heading to the bedroom when I heard voices in the living room. It was Mom and Shane talking. I was about to join them, but sensed a tense atmosphere and decided to listen from the door. Mom was asking Shane something in a hushed tone, inaudible to anyone else. "Are you really not involved with that woman?" Who was she referring to? Shane replied in an annoyed tone, "Nothing's going on. Geez, mother-in-law, you're so suspicious." "Really? I trust you. But remember, if you make Macy cry, I won't let it go." I sensed something from Mom's words. Maybe Shane was having an affair. That might explain why Mom had been acting like she was hiding something. Annoyed, Shane retorted, Enough already. There's nothing between her and me. Shh, keep your voice down. What if Macy hears? I felt like I had overheard something I shouldn't have. Quietly, I left without them noticing. The existence of her, mentioned by Shane, troubled me. I couldn't get it out of my head and suffered through days of agony. But life went on as if nothing happened. Or rather, I pretended I hadn't heard anything. At work, I often found myself lost in thought. My colleagues, noticing my lack of energy, expressed their concern. Even when asked, I couldn't confirm Shane's infidelity. So all I could say was, "Sorry, I've been distracted." Several more months passed. Every year in June, the sports club where Shane works closes for 4 days for cleaning by contractors. During this closure, the staff go on a 2-night, 3-day company trip. Shane was unusually cheerful while preparing for this trip. "Shane, you seem really excited. Are you looking forward to this trip so much?" I asked. He jumped a little, startled. "What? You surprised me, suddenly talking like that." Sorry about that." I hadn't spoken to him suddenly enough to warrant such a reaction. Perhaps our reduced conversations or timing issues were to blame. I didn't think too much about Shane's response. On the day of the trip, after Shane left early in the morning, Mom spoke to me. "The company trip coincides with the weekend this year, Macy. Since your husband is away, why don't we, mother and daughter, enjoy ourselves for a change?" "That sounds good. Let's do that." Then Mom opened a flyer. It was for a fancy restaurant nearby. "Actually, I've made a reservation for 2 for tomorrow night. Let's treat ourselves to a little luxury." I was surprised Mom had prepared all this. It was a restaurant I'd always wanted to try, so I was looking forward to it. But when the day came, I was about to witness an unbelievable scene. As we entered the restaurant, a waiter led us to our table. There was a secluded window table, partitioned off. There, in a familiar suit, was a man I recognized. It was Shane. Why was he here when he was supposed to be on a company trip far away? He hadn't noticed Mom and me yet. As I was about to call out to him, Mom firmly grabbed my arm and held me back. Looking closely, Shane was with someone, partially hidden by the partition and hard to see, but it seemed to be a woman. Shane was staring intently at her. Then he said something unbelievable. "It's been 5 years since I lost my wife." "Have you had a hard time? Are you starting to think about your own happiness now?" The woman's voice could be heard. But whose wife had died? "Yeah. So, would you consider marrying me?" Shane asked. "Me? Really? With your popularity, I thought you could have someone younger." "No, you're the only one for me. Marry me." Shane proposed to her. Why? When he has a wife and me? The woman, overwhelmed with happiness, was audibly crying. "If you're okay with me, I'd be delighted." Then Shane tightly gripped the woman's hands with both of his and whispered, "I'll make you happy, for my late wife's sake." I was utterly confused. Looking at Mom, I saw her frowning deeply, glaring at Shane. "I can't believe this," she muttered. It seemed Mom knew Shane would be here. The woman must be the one Mom had been questioning Shane about. Usually calm, Mom now wore an expression of fury I had never seen before. Then she suddenly stood up and approached Shane's table. What was she planning to do? I watched her actions anxiously. Incredibly, Mom reached for the chair next to Shane and asked, "May I sit here?" Shane, seeing Mom, recoiled in his chair. Linda!" I almost burst out laughing at Shane's panic. He looked shocked, as if thinking, "Why is she here?" Mom then turned to the woman with Shane. "You're the one who joined the sports club for a short while about 3 years ago, right?" "So what if I did?" the woman retorted. I quietly approached from behind Mom and was shocked when I saw the woman's face. Agnes?" It was Agnes, a classmate from high school. We weren't close, but Agnes would come to me when it suited her, like when she wanted mediation with a boy I was friends with. She was always a fair-weather friend. Shane turned at my voice, looking even more startled. Macy too? Why are you here? Why not? You're supposed to be on a company trip today, so why are you here? I challenged. At my question, Shane was at a loss for words, confused. Agnes, trying to save Shane, replied sharply. The wife shows up, huh? Shane, looking uncomfortable, desperately tried to explain to Agnes. Agnes, this is not what it looks like. I know everything already. Huh? Shane seemed panicked, realizing his lie about being a widower was exposed. But Agnes already knew it was a lie, seemingly having played along deliberately. Why did she do that and get involved with Shane? Just as I was about to ask Agnes, she glared at me fiercely. Then she shouted, loud enough for the entire restaurant to hear. I got my revenge on you, you prankster. What do you mean by that? I was momentarily baffled. I hadn't taken anything from Agnes. Seeing my stunned expression, Agnes raised her voice even louder. Stop pretending you don't know, you liar. Agnes yelled with such force that I stumbled backward and fell. What are you talking about? Explain it to me, please, I asked, fearfully mustering my voice. This wasn't just about Shane's infidelity anymore. I racked my brain about high school memories with Agnes. Our interactions were mostly about her seeking relationship advice. Could that be the reason? Suddenly, Agnes grabbed my collar. I won't let you pretend to forget. It was my first love. Agnes, previously angry, now had tears in her eyes. I trusted you to mediate between me and Toby, but next thing I knew, you were with him. Agnes had a crush on Toby, a classmate back in high school. Toby and I were close because we were in the school marching band. Agnes had asked me to mediate between them. It's not like Toby and I were dating. Don't lie. Macy, you said you'd mediate, but then you acted like his girlfriend. I was a fool to trust you. That's a misunderstanding. I tried to clear it up, but Agnes interrupted. Macy, you think it's natural for any guy to be drawn to you because you're friendly. And now, you have such a handsome husband. But you're wrong to think all good men are yours. Agnes seemed consumed by hatred and resentment, perhaps stemming from a high school misunderstanding. Listen, Toby was troubled by your persistent advances. I was just giving him advice. Toby was troubled by Agnes's persistent advances and had asked for my help. But rumors spread that Toby and I were dating, started by girls who were close to Agnes. Bringing this up now might complicate things further. Shane, overhearing our argument and seemingly forgetting his own infidelity scene, commented nonchalantly. Yeah, Agnes, Macy always acts high and mighty, playing the good girl. I don't have any love left for Macy. What? I was shocked to hear Shane's true feelings about me. Overwhelmed, I collapsed on the spot. Shane and Agnes, seeing this, ostentatiously cuddled up to each other. Yeah, you're too good for someone plain like Macy. I approached Shane for revenge, but now I've lost interest in such a woman, right? That's right. You've been single all this time, and despite being the same age, you're much younger and prettier than her, Shane said. Really? I'm so happy. I couldn't marry because of this liar, but now I finally feel happy. The two of them were being affectionate right in front of me. The wife. I was completely at a loss for words. At that moment, when I didn't know what to do, Mom stepped in front of me and shouted, Enough from both of you. Startled by Mom's sudden yell, Shane and Agnes fell silent. Then Mom pulled an envelope from her bag. Inside were dozens of photos. Mom showed one to Shane, asking him seriously, Shane, all these are pictures of you and that Agnes woman entering a hotel. The other photos indeed showed Shane embracing Agnes as they entered a hotel. Shane, panicking, grabbed the photos. When did this? He tried to crumple the photos. Agnes stood beside him, looking arrogant. Mom glared at Agnes accusingly. When you joined the sports club 3 years ago, you were overly friendly with Shane, weren't you? So what if I was? No, just wondering. It seemed like you were targeting Shane from the beginning. Was that the case? None of your business. Agnes's brazen attitude infuriated me. But Mom shook her head at me, indicating I should let her handle it. Mom turned back to Shane and Agnes. Shane, do you understand why I started living with you 3 years ago? Shane, silent and looking down, seemed to realize something. Then Mom explained why she retired from the sports club 5 years ago and continued as a member. It was to keep an eye on Shane, suspecting his infidelity. Shane had always been popular with female staff and members, even after marriage, and seemed to enjoy the attention. Shane has been like this since he joined the club. I hoped he changed after getting a family, which is why I opposed your marriage, Macy. I remember telling Mom about marrying Shane. That's why she didn't look happy. Shane had been a doting father, seemingly family-oriented, even if he was popular outside. But things changed 3 years ago, when our son left for university. Shane started spending less time at home. Mom then looked at Agnes. Agnes, since you joined, Shane's behavior changed. He used to enjoy special treatment, but suddenly he became quiet, which seemed even more suspicious. Mom had been suspicious that Shane was having an affair with Agnes for some time. That's why she moved in with us, to keep an eye on Shane, and even hired a detective. Mom, these photos are from the detective you hired, aren't they? Yes, I made sure you wouldn't notice. As Mom and I were talking, Agnes suddenly burst into laughter. That's some extreme overprotectiveness for your daughter. Be quiet, Mom snapped back, causing Agnes to momentarily shut up. Then Mom, facing Shane with a stern expression, asked, After all my warnings not to make Macy cry, why did you get involved with this woman? Shane, glancing at Agnes, answered Mom's question. It was boring with Macy. Boring? Yes. I was never confident about supporting a family. You know the pay in this industry is low, right? So I thought marrying Macy, a public servant, would ease our living conditions. How is that relevant? We just don't get along. Maybe it was a mistake to choose a woman based on conditions alone. Hearing Shane, I felt nauseous. He married me just because I had a stable job? While I was reeling from shock, Agnes twisted the knife. That's right. Macy has always been just a boring, serious person. No wonder Shane got bored. Agnes seemed oblivious to her position. Furious, I yelled at her. Agnes, do you even understand your position? How dare you act so high and mighty after stealing someone's husband? Yes, we'll demand compensation from you for the affair, Agnes. Yikes! Agnes shuddered at the mention of compensation for the affair. It's a just consequence for her actions as the other party in an affair. Agnes, you may have thought this was revenge against me, but legally, I have the right to claim compensation for the affair. Agnes probably hadn't thought things through. However, she couldn't escape the consequences of her actions. I told him I was considering divorce and would demand compensation from both Shane and Agnes. Shane, seemingly coming to his senses, asked, Wait a minute. What about my life if I divorce Macy? Obviously, you'll have to leave. I'll break up with Agnes. Please overlook this just once. I beg you. Saying this, Shane bowed deeply. Agnes looked at him with a surprised expression, seemingly in panic. Wait, what are you saying? What about me? I was planning to leave Macy for you. I even quit my job for this. What? You thought we live off my earnings alone? That's impossible. Shane and Agnes, who had been so close moments ago, were now arguing fiercely. It's astonishing how money can sway people's hearts. Put your quarrel aside for now. If you're saying you won't divorce or pay the compensation, I'll have no choice but to take this to court, I said. At my words, Agnes's face turned pale, and she hurriedly fled the scene. Hey, wait! Shane tried to follow but was stopped by the waiter, reminding him that he hadn't paid yet. With no other options, Shane turned to me again, bowing deeply. I was really wrong. You're the only one for me. I swear, I'll never cheat again. Please don't leave me. Shane, on the verge of tears, begged pitifully. The confident, handsome Shane was gone, leaving only despair in me. Why did I ever marry such a man? Refusing to forgive Shane, I filed for divorce. The divorce was finalized, but Shane said he could only pay the compensation in small monthly installments. Shane had a low income and lived a flashy life. Knowing his low income and lavish lifestyle, I wasn't surprised he had no savings. However, Mom, who still went to Shane's sports club, apparently told the staff about his affairs. The staff there are prohibited from having personal relationships with members. Even if a member had recently resigned, the club's policy remained the same. Even former members' details stay in the records for 5 years. Mom seemed to have spread the word about Shane's affairs among the other members. It turned out Shane wasn't only involved with Agnes, but had affairs with several younger female members. It was a classic case of walls have ears. In a job dealing with many customers, bad deeds don't go unnoticed. Shane, caught for his numerous affairs, was fired. He then contacted me, asking to wait for the divorce compensation payments. But showing sympathy would mean my defeat. Mom and I went to Shane's apartment and demanded that he pay the full amount immediately, even if it meant borrowing money. If he couldn't pay, I threatened to take him to court again. Shane retorted as if fighting back. "It's not my fault I lost my job. Macy's mom snitched on me." He blamed Mom for his own infidelity in firing, showing no remorse. But Mom seemed prepared for this reaction. "I knew you'd say that, but the staff already knew about your affairs. They have been discussing firing you for a while now." "What? Staff meetings? I never heard anything about that." "Of course. They discussed it while you weren't there. I only revealed your affair when asked by the staff. It's only because they cared for me, your family, that you weren't fired sooner. Now that we're divorced, there's no need for them to hold back." Shane was stunned, realizing he couldn't blame anyone else. I'm sorry. I'll pay the divorce compensation right away." Shane paid the full amount after borrowing money. Now, his life would be difficult, but that was no longer my concern. My son, in his final year of university with a job lined up, didn't need his father anymore. When I told my son about the divorce, he too was appalled by Shane. Shane ended up alone, abandoned even by his son. But there was still the issue of Agnes. She had fled, and I needed to claim compensation for the affair. Shane didn't know her contact details. She likely changed her phone number. However, I had another way to contact Agnes, our high school yearbook, which listed everyone's addresses and phone numbers. It's unclear if Agnes still lives at her parents' home. I sent a demand letter to Agnes's home address listed in the yearbook. Soon, Agnes's mother called me. Agnes was living at home, and her mother opened the letter by mistake and was shocked. Agnes wouldn't explain anything, so her mother called me, worried. I explained everything to Agnes's mother, who apologized profusely over the phone. The voice on the other end was so apologetic that I felt embarrassed myself. Days later, Agnes's parents visited my home, paying the compensation for their daughter's affair. They apologized deeply, but Agnes herself was absent. "We're terribly sorry for our daughter's actions. We told her to come, but she refused. We apologize," they said, bowing politely. Agnes called us overprotective, yet she put such a burden on her parents without showing her face. Agnes seems overly sheltered herself. Yet, her parents promised to make her repay the compensation. It's only right for an adult to take responsibility for their actions. Apparently, Agnes had even told her parents about her high school heartbreak, and they assured me that Agnes, not being married, wasn't my fault. "Agnes always held on to the past. Her temperament likely prevented anyone from getting close. We're truly sorry she blamed you, Macy." "No, please don't worry about it." Her parents seemed genuinely kind. I had been troubled by Agnes's accusation, but their words gave me relief. Later, Agnes's parents contacted me again. Agnes had left home. She had refused to pay the compensation they had fronted for her. How childish can she be? When her dad got angry, she yelled, "I hate you, Dad," and left crying, and with nowhere to go. Meanwhile, Shane struggled to find a new job after being fired. His lack of experience outside swimming instruction was a problem. Shane had to work and repay debts. He had to work multiple part-time jobs, including at a grocery store and a family restaurant. Despite being a previous instructor, his new job was a challenge. He was used to being treated specially, but now struggled with customers' attitudes. Shane often sent me messages complaining about minor issues. Therefore, I keep getting updates on Shane's situation whether I like it or not. However, there are times when he doesn't contact me for a while. Occasionally, he'd excitedly mention attractive female customers, showing he hadn't changed. He even got fired for making advances towards a customer. Shane, a good swimmer, seemed to drown in love. It's no surprise he couldn't hold a job in such a state. Desperate, Shane called me, asking to get back together. "Macy, let's try again. I can't live without you." Exhausted by his behavior, I blocked all his contacts. Then Agnes' parents reached out again. Agnes had moved in with a man she met on social media. She couldn't live alone. The man, divorced, had a son who unexpectedly moved in with them. The son had dropped out of high school and didn't work. It seems Agnes started working part-time, but all her earnings were taken by the son. Frustrated, Agnes returned to her parents' home. However, she begged her parents to cover not only the compensation for the affair with me, but also her living expenses. Even her patient parents reached their limit and completely severed ties with Agnes. Agnes, disowned, tearfully went back to the man's place. Meanwhile, after my divorce, I've been living happily with Mom. To avoid Shane's intrusions, we sold our old house and moved to a new place far away, effectively cutting ties with him. Mom, even in this new place, wants to continue her active hobbies. So I've been joining her in visiting various sports facilities nearby. We found one that Mom particularly likes, featuring a spacious training gym, a pool, and even a large bath with a sauna and hot stone therapy. I decided to join the club, invited by Mom. Until now, my life was hectic with work and household chores. But from now on, I plan to fully enjoy my hobbies and my own time.